Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And today, for Thursday, I thought we would take a look at the lesson that's assigned from St. Mark's Gospel, the 9th chapter, beginning at the 2nd verse. This is known as the Transfiguration. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh with him Peter, James, and John, and leadeth them up into a high mountain apart by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth can white them. And there appeared unto them Elias and Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter answered and said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. For he wist not what to say, for they were sore afraid. And there was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And suddenly when they looked around, they saw no man any more save Jesus, only with themselves. And as they came down from the mountain, he charged them that they should tell no man what things they had seen, till the Son of Man was risen from the dead. And they kept that saying with themselves, questioning one with another what the rising from the dead should mean. And they asked him, saying, Why say the scribes that Elias must come first? And he answered and told them, Elias verily cometh first, and restoreth all things, and how it is written of the Son of Man, that he must suffer many things, and be set at naught. But I say unto you, that Elias is indeed come, and they have done unto him whatsoever they listed, as it is written of him. Okay, so we usually celebrate the Feast of the Transfiguration, by the way, on August 6th. That's when it's on the calendar of the prayer book. But this story is important for several different things. First of all, there's a wonderful connection to Jesus as fulfillment of the Old Testament, right? And so we have here the two of the major figures in the Old Testament as far as it goes for prophets. And that, of course, is Moses and Elias, which represents the law and the prophets. And so for Jesus to be talking to the two of them in this vision certainly would, for the hearer, for the Jewish people, would be an automatic connection to what God has already done in sending this relationship, this original covenant, which goes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And of course, Moses being the great prophet who frees them from slavery through God's work, leads them out of Egypt into the promised land. Doesn't get there himself, but he leads them there. And so, of course, Elias, the great prophet, and the stories of Elias are wonderful in the book of Kings. Please do read that on your own. But so the two of them appear with Jesus. So we have this connectedness to the Old Testament. But the other thing that would be a connectedness, especially concerning Moses, is that when Moses was in the presence of God, his face shone. His face was so bright. You read about this in the book of Exodus. His face was so bright that, in fact, you couldn't look upon it. He had to put a veil over his face after he was talking with God, unveiled. God's brightness would reflect upon him, and then he had to cover his face when he talked to the people because they couldn't stand to look at him because of the brightness of his countenance. So here we hear once again that they're so dazzling, so bright, and of course in this case it's not just a reflection of the glory of God, but in fact it's because Jesus Christ is God himself. It's kind of leaking right out of him, out of his humanity, right? Because he's both God and man. And then, of course, once Peter says, we should build this tabernacles for one and the other, the problem with that is that only God can have a tabernacle in the sense of worthy of worship. Again, another reference back to our Old Testament. If we know our Old Testament, the tabernacle was what they brought from place to place as they wandered through the wilderness, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept and was a special place of God's worship. And then, of course, the tabernacle was set up in the Promised Land as well, and eventually then the temple was built. So for Peter to say, let us build 3 tabernacles for Moses, Elias, and Jesus, Peter's wrong there. In fact, he's made a great mistake. We don't worship those prophets, but Jesus Christ, he's worthy of worship and certainly would be worthy of a tabernacle. And of course, I love that little throwaway at the end when Jesus says, don't tell anybody till after the resurrection. And they're like, what does he mean, resurrection from the dead? What does he mean by this? But of course, they'll find out. We know it in hindsight. So today's Thursday. Again, I'm still away on vacation, recorded this ahead of time. But I do hope you are saying your prayers, and I do look forward to being back with you soon in person. And may God bless you.